All right, welcome back, folks. This is Payload Pat, and we're back at it again with another video as far as our series K8's Cadence, where we pretty much work together and solve some questions that are going to be aligned with the CKA or the Certified Kubernetes Administrator certification. So on today's agenda, we're going to be going over a couple of cool things. We're going to be doing some cluster upgrades, so some maintenance on your cluster as well as ETCD backup, as well as a restore. And then lastly, we'll go ahead and try to knock out some network policies. I have a cool little website I want us to look at so we can help visualize those policies, which will probably help us, as we're studying for the certification. So, um, yeah, welcome aboard. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. So let me do the entire screen and let's go ahead and have some fun. So, all right, awesome. Let's do it. So we're going to be using Code Cloud as always. And we're just going to go through one through their sessions. So we're going to go and actively work through this together. And I want to, make sure that we all contribute to this. So we're going to answer these questions as far as one. So the first question here says, this lab is going to test our skill upgrading a Kubernetes cluster. And we have a production cluster with the applications running on it. And we're going to go ahead and explore the setup. So it's currently asking us, what is the current version of the cluster? Anybody want to go ahead and try to identify how we actually get that information or what command that we should put in here to find that out?
Is it K is it K dash dash version or is it K version dash dash short?
Well, this one is actually going to be a little bit simpler. The node actually shows us what version of cluster it's running. So if you want to find out the version, but great guess. It's actually just going to be kubectl get nodes. So let's get node, and it actually is going to show us the version here on the last section.
Okay. So
Yeah,
that's
because
a
I think you like
short
the
way.
actual version of Kubernetes could be a little different. But yeah, this is the version that the cluster is running on 1.26. So let's go ahead and put that in there, and we're actually gonna go right on to the next one. So it says how many nodes are part of this cluster. Well, when we do the kget nodes, the same command, it shows us how many nodes we have. So right now we have the node one and the control plane. So let's go ahead and just answer two there. And now that looks smooth. Happy about that. And then how many nodes can host workloads on this cluster? So
Mm.
it's telling us to inspect the applications and taint set on the nodes. So let's go ahead and somebody let me know what they think we should put in here to actually, check for taints and to see. Oh, someone else. Actually, let me go ahead and do this. Okay, Finn, focus. Let me remove the uh hey, what's up, Finn?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, man? How you doing? Cool. So yeah, we're just doing some cluster upgrades right now. So you came right in time. So yeah, so we're just going answering these questions here. So the next question was saying, so yeah, Terrell, I think you were going to answer that one before I lost my train of thought.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say too, just because I just know that you can run, you can run workloads on any nodes.
Right, right. Unless there's a taint that note that the pod it can tolerate. So to do that, to
So
check that, so we got to check
would
and see
you
if there's
check
um,
would you do a describe to check to see if the taint is on the nose, or is there a shorter way to check for it?
no, that's the way. Yep, that's the way we'll do it. There is a shorter way to like consolidate that to just give us what we need. But you're right. You're right on track with that. So let's do kget nodes, and then the output we're gonna do like YAML or something, and then I'll just pipe that, and then we can grep it. So let's grep if I can spell. Let's grep minus I, and then I just like to do taints or taint. I just put taint, and then minus C, capital C, and then I can do like 5 or 4. This is just saying, okay, grep, find this pattern taint and any lines above or below. We can actually do an A actually, and that's just going to be minus big A is going to be, I believe, after this keyword. So as we see, there's no taints. So minus let's do minus C4 or something like that just to make sure. So yeah, so we don't have any paints on this node here. It would have shown up and mentioned that. So that's a great way. Or you can always just parse through the kget nodes, which is gonna be time consuming. So, but yeah, spot on. But yeah, there's no node. There's no taints on there. But how many nodes can host the workload? So we can say two. So both of them are able to host them. And the next one says how many applications are hosted on the cluster. So to see what applications are running, we want to likely do a kubectl get deployments. So see what deployments we have running on there. And it looks like we got one deployment running. And to just be even more sure, we can do kgit pods to be sure that there's nothing else just running on there. So looks like there's just one application and it's the blue application. So we can just put one there. And it says what nodes are the pods hosted on? So this is a good question. Anybody want to take a try on that one?
Can you do like kget pod dash o y and it'll display it?
Let's see what that does. Oh, um, all right, cool. So look, so it tells us the node that they're on running on. So the pods are hosted on node one and control plane. So yeah, perfect. Good answer. And you can always do yeah, this is exactly what you need to do to identify what where they're running on.
You got a shorter
So
way?
no, I was thinking about the nodes, but no, you're right. This is exactly the way that you should be doing it. This is the right way. This is the exact way. So you nailed it, man. You like 4 for 4 now. So now we're tasked to upgrade the cluster, and users accessing the application must not be impacted. So we want this to be highly available, and we cannot provision any new VMs. So what strategy would we use to actually upgrade this cluster? Um, so some of the
Would it be
questions
a
are
rolling, like a
go ahead.
rolling upgrade?
Yeah, they don't specify that here, but that's the literal term
Yeah.
that we're trying to do. And essentially, rolling upgrade is you upgrade something one at a time. So there's always, well, in this case, I don't necessarily think it's like, yeah, it could be rolling upgrade. Yeah, that's it. But essentially, we don't want the users on the back end who are using your application to identify that there's actually anything going on. They should not, see any differences. So the best answer on here, what do you guys think the answer will be as far as the strategy we should use?
The last one, upgrade one node at a time while moving the workloads.
There you go. So yeah, we're doing it upgrade one at a time. That should allow one node to at least take the job of, ensuring all the, responses in a certain application is working and functioning while we update the other one in the back end. So great answer. I think that was Desiree. So good job, man. Good job. So next, moving on to that is what is the latest stable version of Kubernetes as of today? This one actually tells us the answer pretty much, but essentially what we're going to be doing is using the kubeadm upgrade plan. So we're going to run that, but before I do, anyone knows what kubeadm is and like what its role is?
So is the administrator pretty much how you're able to run the commands in terms of being inside of Kubernetes, right? Like it
That's
manages
actually
the.
that's kubectl.
Sorry. Yeah, that's QCTL. My bad.
Yeah.
From what I read,
So
kubeadm is like it's the cluster management software.
yep, yep, that is correct. So essentially, it's kubeadm builds the Kubernetes cluster. It pretty much
Mm.
bootstraps everything in there for your node.
Bootstrap
So
tokens and cluster upgrades. Okay.
yeah. So whenever you see kubeadm, that's just going to be doing the updates, upgrades, and stuff like that on the node itself. And then kubectl is pretty much the API. It pretty much fetches the request. Hey, I'm reaching out to the etcd server. Tell me what current nodes we have, what applications we have. It pretty much is just doing all the talking for us. So perfect. So yeah, so let's go and do the kubeadm upgrade plan. And that just tells us okay, what can we upgrade this to? What are our current versions? What versions are available? And things of that nature. So this is what we're going to be doing the node upgrade itself. So as you see here, there's a bunch of information, but the most important information is pretty much right here where it says the cluster version, Kubernetes version, and the remote version, which says it's much newer, right? So it says the latest stable version is 1.28.4. However, it looks like Code Cloud is a little bit late on their updates, so they may need to do the rolling update themselves on this. But it's 1.28.2 on here as far as the answer, but it really is 1.28.4, which is the official latest um version. So that's just a little catch that we could spot there. And then moving along. All right, awesome. So, what is the latest version available for an upgrade with the current version of the Cube ADM tool? So, this one here is kind of looking at us, but anyone want to let me know what the current latest version available for us to upgrade?
1.2611.
Yep, that's it right there. And as you see there, the target, and it shows it right here too as well for us. So, good job. All right. So now we finally get to the fun part. So this is what we all here for, right? So
Oh
the
yeah.
step one here is this is step one really. All that other stuff is just getting us up until this point. But essentially, when it says we need to drain the control plane node of workloads and mark it, let's go ahead and first do a k get let's do a k get pods minus o wide again, right? And we're gonna remember how it was. So it was node one and control plane. So we got two of those pods running on here, right? So let's go ahead and do a drain. So it's pretty much a very simple command. So you're gonna do kubectl or k drain, right? And then we need to specify what we're gonna do the control plane. But one other point that we need to add is we need to ignore the daemon sets,
Yeah, dash dash ignore Damon said. Yep.
right? Because the daemon sets are still gonna pretty much try to run on that control plane. Because daemon set essentially is gonna run on every single node. So perfect. So let's do that here. And ignoring the daemon says, and look what it says. It's saying it's evicting those pods, right? So it's evicting all of the static pods that we have on there, as well as the two blue pods that we had as well that we confirmed up here. So now if we do the same command, get pods, you see everything now is showing up where on node one. So that's pretty much what it's doing. It's moving all of the workload to the other node. So now the control plane is isolated by itself, so we can run those upgrades and not necessarily run into any problems because there's any workloads on it at the time. So that should take care of that here. And if we do a k get nodes, we can also see this here as well. As you see here, it says ready, but scheduling is disabled. So we can't schedule if you run any type of like creating a pod or creating a deployment, it will not get scheduled on that control plane node at this moment. So let's move on there. All right, now it's telling us to upgrade the control plane components to the exact version of 1.27.0. And it's saying upgrade the cube ADM tool, then the control plane components, and then finally the kubelet. And we always should look at the documentation. I'm not going to do it right now, but it's always good to look at the documentation for us to see what we need to do. But for step one, I always like to do an APT update.
Yep.
So want to do an APT update just to pull down the latest packages and everything there. So we're good there. And then now the next thing is we want to actually upgrade the Cube ADM. So Cube ADM is the first thing that needs to get updated most of the time. So always remember Cube ADM is what needs to upgrade first. So very simple command. So apt up, I'm sorry, install. Then we're gonna do Cube ADM equals what version do we need to upgrade Cube ADM to, right? So it's kind of different.
1.2 second dot zero
Mhm.
uh hold on dot zero dash zero zero.
Mm-hmm. We could do a
And you
minus
can
one.
actually
Or
you can do both of them at the same time though
you
if
can.
you wanted
Yeah, you're
to.
right. And let's
Yeah.
actually do that. So apt install kubelet. So now we got to install
So you didn't
kubeadm.
even have, I don't even think you had to even had add the and in there. It would have just took both of those as the same part of the command, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, like this.
Like,
I get what
yeah, just
you're saying.
put the
Yeah.
kubelet. Yeah,
Yeah. Equal. Okay, that's a good point. Let's type in 1.27.0
like zero
slash
dash
0. This is the only thing that
zero.
confused me in the beginning. I don't know what happened with this. Okay, just a little lag there. All right, cool. And yeah, let's see what happens. I actually haven't run it this way, so let's see if it works. Awesome. No errors, no errors. Perfect, beautiful. And it should ask us to put yes, I believe, too. Oh, it didn't. All right, cool. So let's go ahead. And now what we need to do is do a now we're going to kubeadm. So we're using a kubeadm service. So kubeadm upgrade.
Upgrade, yeah.
Remember, we did QBM upgrade plan to see what we can upgrade to, but this now we're in the cube ADM upgrade apply. So we're applying the upgrade,
Yeah.
and then now we got to specify the version. So it's going to be version, so just
Dot dot
v1.27.0,
zero.
right? You see, and it should run right through that.
I think this one take a moment.
Yeah, it's going to take a little
Yeah.
while because it's actually going in a legitimate upgrade. So it's not gonna take too long. But yeah, that's that part. And then yeah, let's proceed.
Patrick, or if anybody else knows, what is best practice as far as what we should upgrade first between kubelet and the core components through kubeadm?
Um, I mean, I personally think the Cube ADM should be upgraded first, um, and then the kubelet. I'm not sure as far as like, because it's like what comes first. I mean, kubelet is upgrading the cluster. You know what I'm saying? So I'd rather the cluster be upgraded first, and then we can upgrade the kubelet. That's less impactful, I guess, if that makes sense. But I don't know if there's an official step by step, but this is what the documentation says. It actually says upgrade the cube to ABM first, as you see here, then the control plane nodes. So I guess that's a best practice in itself. But I don't have anything that supports that beyond that, to be quite honest, unless someone can chime in and you know, provide their reasoning. Well, good question.
I was thinking the same thing because the API server everything talks to that, so I figured that should
Mhm.
be the first thing that gets upgraded.
Right. Yep. Good thought process. So as we see, it takes a little moment. Okay, and you see it's renewing things and pulling images and all that good stuff. So let's update it. Hopefully it's going to be done in a couple seconds. So yeah,
Now
this
for
is
this
just
next command, I think I'm a little fuzzy on this next command that's about to come up. Um, yeah, when you get there, like the systemctl
yeah.
reload, is it cube 80 ATM dash daemon set, or would it be like kubelet dash ATM? It's something like that. I know one of them is like daemon set. You got to reload
Mhm.
it, then you can do the systemctl restart kubelet.
Yeah, and while that's coming up, let's actually do let me do cluster. All right, let me do this search up cluster upgrade. See what happens here. Create a cluster. Let me just click the first one right here. All right. No, this is not it. Let me go back to this one. Okay. Let's go down here. It may show us this. Don't know if it will, but training node upgraded. Okay, here it is. So don't worry about remembering it, Terrell. Don't even stress yourself. It's right here. It's cool to memorize stuff, but man, just search it up and
Interesting.
just copy and paste this,
Yeah,
man.
go through the
That
docs and just go
uh,
ahead and master the test down there through the docs.
yeah, yeah. What's that's gonna save you 10 like 30 seconds versus you
Hmm.
trying to get a headache and get yourself out of whack. And because remember, all this stuff is the test itself, I heard, is not that difficult. It's more mental than anything. So if we can knock out those other things, you know what I'm saying, and just get us back calm and collected, remember, just go back to the docs, and then we can save a little bit of that anxiety of us thinking that we got it right or wrong. So that's it. But as you said here, this is the next command, so let's just go ahead and copy it, right? So let me go ahead and paste that here.
I always just restarted the service.
The
Interested
daemon
in the
reload is not
fidelity.
required. It's not required. It's not
Yeah,
something
that's
that
what
is
I was
going to take.
gonna ask. Is it required or
Yeah,
not? Because
it is
I
not.
seen some people don't do it.
You don't have to, man. It's not something that you're gonna get like you won't lose points on the test by doing this. I promise you. So now we went ahead and upgraded the kubelet. We upgraded the cube ADM. So and we restarted the service. So kubelet should be updated to the latest version. So let's
We need
actually
to
do it.
uncoordinate.
Well, yeah, let's actually get notes. Let's see if it actually did it. Look, boom. What does that show? Version now is 1.27. But as Terrell mentioned, we got to uncoordinate. But before we uncoordinate, as you see, it says scheduling still disabled. So yeah, we updated it, but there's still no way that any nodes can get on there. So let's go ahead and do a kubectl or k uncoordin, and then control plane, right? And
Hmm.
now it's uncording. And if we do get nodes again, now it should show ready. There you go. So now we've simply upgraded the control plane. It took longer for it to do the update itself than us actually typing in commands. It may seem a little longer because we were actually having a discussion as it was going through, but it's a very straightforward process. And again, if you ever mess up or you ever think, dang, where did I go right here, man. It's literally in the documents. Drain the node first. Drain that node. It even shows ignore daemon sets. Go ahead and you can copy this and do that. Just update the kubelet number. And yeah, and you can go from there. Um, but I just did an APT update and it did everything at once for you. All you're gonna literally change there is the number and the version for both of them. And that's gonna be given to you in the exam. And then we uncoordinate it. So now we got to do the worker nodes, right? So, and it's very similar as far as the same thing. So let's go and actually check. And then yep, we got it correct, right? Perfect. We already did this part because we already did the uncording and it's ready. So now we need to drain the worker node. So we need to do same process, kubectl drain, and it's node 0, 1, right? Then we got to do dash dash ignore daemon set, the same process. It's going to do the same thing. So now it's going to move all the pods over to the control plane now. And the pods are able to go on the control plane because there's no taints, which typically is not the case in the real world, but in this exam environment, in lab environment, that's how they're doing it.
Now we
So
need
you
an
really,
SSH beside it.
exactly. So now this is where we have to actually log into the node 1 to complete the upgrade because on control plane, we don't, if we do a cube ADM upgrade or anything, it's going to upgrade the control plane node, not the actual worker node that we're trying to do. So let's go ahead and SSH and you can just do node 0, 1. All right. So we're in there. So we're going to do the same process. We're going to do an APT upgrade. Yeah, update. And of course, we can do all that in one command, but I like to just, as we're talking, let's do it one by one. Perfect. Then we need to do an APT install. Then we're gonna do cube ADM. And that's gonna be equal to one, same thing, 1.27.0/00. And then we're gonna do kubelet equals to 1.27.0/00, right? And then let's just press enter. I think that should be good, right?
Well, we won't necessarily need the cube ADM on the worker node. There's no
You're
core
right.
components.
You're absolutely right about that.
So say that again. So you don't need the cube ADM on the worker node.
No.
Because the reason I say that is because we use kubeadm to upgrade the core components of Kubernetes, which are gonna be on the master nodes. Uh, the worker node, there you only have to upgrade the kubelet.
Okay, so maybe on exam for the exam purpose, we just don't worry about it on the secondary node, on the worker node, and just go to the kubelet, or have you took the exam?
I have not.
Okay, I was just curious, just checking. Do you still need to upgrade them both on the exam or not on the worker node?
Do something. You see? All right. So node 1 is already upgraded, right? And that's because I did the process of that. So let me show you. Let me go back. Let me SSH back into there. I just wanted to check for myself. So we're in there. So we would have did a Cube ADM upgrade node, and I think that's what we would have had to do if we didn't install the Cube ADM version 1.27. So we would have just had to do that, and then it would have upgraded the node to that version. But nonetheless, it's good. So we only thing that we have to do now is the system CTO daemon reload and reset. So
Hold on,
let's
did I miss something? So
Oh,
you don't have to do the other section, like since you're not doing the cube ATM, I mean the cube ADM, what he was just speaking about. So you don't have to do that apply command because we
now.
don't. That's not necessary for the worker node.
Yep. So because I
Gotcha.
did and I don't know if this is again if it's I don't think it's a problem because obviously upgraded it. So I in my process because I did this lab before and I did the
Mm.
Cubadium upgrade node and it still was at 1.26. I don't know if it was a lab or what, but it still didn't upgrade it by just doing Cubadium upgrade. So I guess
interesting.
we can still do it like this. I don't know, but technically this is the command that they want us to use. Cube ADM upgrade node. That's the command technically for the worker node for it to go ahead and pull in an update.
Question:
Um,
Oh,
When you use that command, do you still have to download the newest version of the kubelet, or can it will download it for you?
we still have to download Kubelet because Kubelet is not updated yet.
I was assuming the Kubedium upgrade node upgraded your kubelet.
No, it doesn't. They're two separate components. So we still would have to upgrade the Kubelet itself. Um, but we can actually let me see system. Let's see CTL. Um, status. Let me do a
Just to
status.
give you some context, the way I've always done it was just download the kubelet and restart the service. I have never used that upgrade node command, and it would
on,
upgrade the
on the
node.
worker.
Yeah, under worker nodes.
Okay, cool. Well, look, I'm not a pro in this, so you know that
I'm
it
not
sounds like
either.
yeah, no,
I'm
that's
not
sounds
either.
like that's the case. And we're all learning, so that's great feedback. So I guess whatever makes us feel comfortable. I think both of them it won't hurt doing it. At least from what I'm seeing here, they're doing the same thing. But it's always at least safe. Let's stay on the safe side here, and let's just do a kubelet. Let's update kubelet. I don't know if I did that one here yet. Oh, I did when this come in. So they're upgraded. And the only thing we need is system CTO. Let's do the daemon reload thing. Daemon what? Daemon reload. Oh well, I need system CTO first. Then I don't know. I have no idea what that does, but um, start. Right? All right, perfect. So now we can exit off of this now, and then let's just go ahead and just see. As we mentioned, it already showed us that they're both upgraded, right? But now it's not scheduled, but let's just make sure that it shows correct. Okay, cool. So we're good. And then now we just need to go ahead and remove the restriction, which is going to be what's the command to row to make the node available again, schedulable again. Make sure I didn't lose you guys. Okay, yeah,
You
my
try to
connection.
uncordon it.
Yep, that's it. I and then it's going to be node 01, right? Okay. That's it. So we went ahead and upgraded those two. And now if I do get nodes, we can see both of them are the right version and they're both ready. So if we do a pod, we create a pod or anything, it pretty much is going to go to either one of those two. So Good job, gents.
Teams.
So that's that. So that's pretty much how we can go ahead and do a cluster upgrade. Where are we at with time? Dang, time is flying by, man. Perfect. So, with that being said, we're done. Is there any questions on that here before we move on to the etcd backup?
Nah.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So let me find the question, the etcd backup here. Is it here? Test backup and restore. I don't think it's that one. No, well, I can't find it. Working with etcdctl. Wait, is it this one? It may or may not be this one. Let me see. Come on. All right. I don't know if this is it, but let's just go run through it. So we have a working Kubernetes cluster with a set of web applications running. How many deployments exist in the cluster? So I'm going to just get deploy. We have 2. And I just want to speed through this. Just okay, yeah. So we're good. So what version of etcd running is running on a cluster, and we can check the pod or the process. I prefer just checking the pod. So we can do a k describe pod. Um, let me do a k get pod first. K minus namespace keep systems. Because we're looking for the etcd server, right? So we can do k namespace cube system. We can do get pods, right? And then it's going to give us the etcd control plane. So let's describe it and see what we get. Or I can just go to the manifest and look at that way as well. Which I'll probably just do. Let me just do it.
Can also check in the kubeadm.
You can. What's that command? You know that process? I'm curious now that you mentioned
To
it.
the kubeadm upgrade plan. It'll show you all the versions of the different components of Kubernetes.
Oh, you're right. You know what? Because it shows the 1.27, and at the bottom it says the etcd version. Yeah, that's a great way. Upgrade plan. Yeah, I love that. See, it's so many ways, you can skin the cat. So, um, this is amazing. So, as you're right, it says 3.5.7. So that's the current version. Look at you, man. You're a rock star. All right, perfect. And it says that what address can we reach the etcd cluster from the control plane node? So by default, we know loopback address, so 1.27.0.0.0, and then the port, 2379, right? But we can check this by doing a cat /etc Kubernetes, and then the manifest, and then we can do the etcd .yaml, right? And we can go ahead and scroll up here, and it actually is going to show the advertised. I think it's where is it? Here, right here. The listening client URLs. So either of these two will work. In this case, they're looking for the 192.3.223. Wait, no. Yeah, it should be right. Oh, they're using a loopback on this one. So either one of those will work. So it can be the loopback or it can be the 192.3 one. Both will get you to the same address. And it says, where is the etcd server certificate file located? And that's actually going to be here in the PKI section. So let's actually check that out. So let's let me CD here. Instead of a manifest, I think it's just PKI, right? And then etcd. Then like let's list that. So it says looking for the server certificate. So it'll be server.crt. So etcd Kubernetes PKI server.crt right there. Do a PW.
Patrick, where would
That's the
we
easiest way. My bad, bro. I was just wondering, was that just the easiest way if you already had it pulled up on the screen where they got the list of all the certificate listed? right there.
Yeah,
And
you can definitely have it here too. Yeah, these are the same, but just to find the actual folder, I mean, it's the same thing exactly. Because if you look at here, where is it? It should be like that server. Yeah, right here, cert file. So you can find it that way too. Yep.
Now, on the
Um,
test, I'm curious, Patrick, would they try to trick you by changing that because that's the default place that it stores it, right?
Yeah, so the best place to find it would be the source of truth, which will be here, because this is where it's looking for it at. But yeah, it is always a best practice to check. And I believe just like for example, when they say where the static files located, you can change the static files to be at a different location. So it's always good to double check because that's why you want to look at the varlib, kubelet, config file, and I will also tell you, different things. So yeah, they can try to, get us caught up on that, but I don't honestly think they're gonna try to check us too much. So if you understand this, I think we should be prepared, for the exam from what I'm hearing. Um, but so it says the CA file, it's the same thing. It's gonna be uh ca.cert. So I think it's that one. I think I might have clicked it too early. Okay, yeah, that's it. But yes, essentially, Terrell, you're right. This is the same way you can find that information. All right, awesome. So the master node is planning for regular maintenance reboot tonight. Essentially, we just need to take a snapshot and save it to this location here, right? So they're giving us the location. So to back up here, this is what I'm going to do to make it a little bit easier. But if someone asks a question, gotta run. Oh, he left. Okay, cool, man. You take care, Freddie. Thanks for joining, bro. As always. So what I like to do here, because I like to stay on the let me stay on here. I guess thought I had it. Okay, here. Right. So I like to stay on the actual command line. So to do that, what I'm gonna do is a grep minus I, and I'm gonna do 20. So you're gonna do command, and the reason why I'm doing that here is this. So from the command, I want everything after this. So it's gonna show me all of these things, right? So I don't have to like continuously go back and forth and then put it in the package like a command line. Right? This is just I do. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. So I'm gonna do like a like 12 or something. Right? Well, I think I need more than that. So I'm gonna do like just do 20. And that's exactly what I need, right? Trust the CA file. Yeah, that's it. So now I just did 20. So now it's just gonna list me everything. So let me just go back and do it again. And now I'm gonna go to the documentation because I don't memorize this at all, and I don't expect you to. So etcd backup. So we're just gonna search up for the backup command, and it should probably be the first command here. And this is what we're gonna use. I think I already passed it. Um, Okay, here. This is the command that I like to use here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just copy this thing one by one.
It's nice. That's there.
Yeah, this is the way that I do it. This is already here for us because as we check the 127 is the loop back address. So that's fine. And then this just allows me to go ahead and put the command in one by one, right? So if I go back, now we're just going to look for the trusted CA file, and I'm just going to copy and paste everything. So the least amount of mistakes, and it's like right in my face without me having to go back and control,
that's
like X to save. What were we gonna say, Terrell?
no, I said that's smart doing it that way because that's where I had a problem at. Like I was like, how you edit? You copy and paste all of that from the documentation, but just line by line makes it easier for you to edit.
Yeah, man, just use this way to me. And yeah, it works. So the key file here. All right, cool. Let me copy that. And then now it's gonna ask me for the next line, all right? So next line is just like the backup. So I just do snapshot save, right? I'll just copy that piece without copying another one. And then now you could kind of see everything in front of you without having to go using any type of um, code editor or anything like that. So, and now look at that, boom, snapshot saved. We're done. So that was a lot painless than us going, doing a VI and then pasting and then going back. And then I had so much mistakes doing that in the past. I'm like, let me just stay on the command line and then just do it this way. So remember, if you want to do it this route, all you're doing is grabbing it, looking for a command, or remember, you can always do the cat and find something over here. You can even do ETCD and may show up a lot of other options. So I just do command and it just pulls everything up under that. So just use that as a tip, for this, and that should help you out quite a bit. So we're good with that. Any questions on that part? Okay, cool. Moving on. Let's do it. All right. So we have a conference call after the reboot and master nodes come back online, but none of our applications are accessible. Check the status of the application on a cluster. So let's do a K git deploy. So no deployments found. If we do -A, you see the cube system, but remember that's not the actual pods
Can we
that
just
we.
check for just the services by typing in git kgit svc?
Yeah, we can do that as well. But there's no, you see those, that's the native Kubernetes service. So that's not something that we need. Remember, we had that blue pod, right?
Yeah.
Those blue pods on the node. So that's not there. So service is not there, pods aren't there, and the deployments aren't there. And we can just do a kget all too, which is probably
All
a
of the
better.
above.
Yeah, kget all is probably a better way to do that. So now we need to go ahead and restore the original state of the cluster using the backup file. So first thing, I think we can do a snapshot restore just by using this, but let's go back and see the documentation because I don't really remember to be honest. Uh, so etcdctl restore data dir snapshot restore location. So we can do this way. Um, let's just try this way. All right, so I'm gonna copy this and then let's go back to our thing. Let me do Control C L, but I want to do the whole that again. Right. So let's go back. So the data directory, that is important. So the data directory is going to be found here, which is data dir, right? But it's going to be something that we're going to have to do, right? Because that still has files in it. So etcd data dir snapshot restore snapshot, right? Matter of fact, before I do that, I'm just going to do something random. So I'm going to do a k run, just name it busy, then dash as image equals to busybox, and then dash command is gonna be sleep 1 day. I think that should be a good command, right? That's running, right? We're gonna just use that as a reference. So, all right, so etcdctl data dir var lib etcd, and then a snapshot restore, and then the actual name of the snapshot, which I don't even remember, but I have it saved with my here. I can go in my history. And if you guys don't have this, this is super helpful, man. So now we have the restore. It's the optional path here, snapshot restore DB. But if I press enter, it's going to give us an error. Flag provided. Oh, I didn't put a double. I don't know what. Then read it and you capture it. Flag provided but not defined. Data dir. Happen. Snapshot restore. etcdctl. Data dir. var 3. I don't know what's going on with that. But could go back here and then do this. You can see if this works.
Did it work?
I think so. Let's actually check. So we can do qtcl get pods, right? I don't think it works. Unless it's taking a minute. It should take some time to do it.
I mean, but it would still show that if it's coming online, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's working. It says
Because I
default.
have, all right, so I have in front of me etcd ctl snapshot restore dash h.
I should just gonna say what location you wanted to go to, right? But let's see. It says data deer.
Oh, that's the help. My bad.
Yeah, that's help. Yeah, that's just gonna show us what we could do. But well, sometimes it takes time. So oh, I don't think that's it. But let me go back to the documentation. Okay, endpoints. One more remaining. Snapshot file must be present. I don't think there's any difference here. Run troubleshoot. So let me copy and paste the location of the snapshot.
Yeah, I feel like you were doing everything right, to be honest. Um,
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't take it.
Cold Cloud Lab be tripping sometime too,
It
man.
does, but I don't. But because it says MVC membership added to cluster, so that looked like it took it, but I don't know. Let me varlib at CD. Um, okay, you see how it says. See how it's a different command now? It says it's a different error. So now what we actually need to do is rm minus rf. We need to delete everything out of this here. There's still all the old stuff. So I'm going to remove that information from that file, and then I'm going to run this again. Let's see what happens. It says the same thing. So it restored it, right? But let's go back and see KK pods. Boom.
Oh,
We're
there we
good now.
go.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what it was. But it didn't register before. But let's just, I guess, use this command instead. Very weird what happened, but I'm not sure. But nonetheless, as you see here, that busy box pod that we had is not there anymore. Anyone know why?
Um,
Because it
nope.
was created after the snapshot.
There you go. So I just did that to show us that it actually restored it exactly as the state it was prior to us doing a backup. So that busy box is no longer going to be there because it wasn't part of the latest backup. So that was just a quick little additional thing I wanted to add on there. And if we see there, you can do K get service, and it also should show us the 3 services and then the 2 deployments. It should be red and green, red and blue, sorry. There you go. So we got the two there and are looking good as before. So perfect. So yeah, I'm not sure what happened, but whenever we see that error says it exists, that data there exists, just delete it because it's still like content in there, whatever. So it needs to have a blank, empty volume essentially for it, and then pretty much we should be good. So just keep that quick thing in mind because I don't think it says that in the documentation anywhere. It has to be an empty directory. Um, but we're good on that. So that pretty much takes care of that, and we can go ahead and do a check, and we should be good on that front. So that was the end of that lab. So that was a pretty fun lab and gave us a little bit of um, a stickler there as well. And then I guess the last thing I really wanted to cover was the network policy. Let me see if there's a network policy question that we can get. Ingress networking, ingress network. I don't care about ingress networking. That one is not too difficult.
PJ, I'm gonna
Um,
catch that network one on the replay. I gotta
oh,
drop.
that's cool. Well, thank you for showing up. Oh, it's
Yeah.
9. Yeah. Well, appreciate. Well, it's gonna be on YouTube, so you'll see it later, man.
All right, I thank you, man. Appreciate all y'all.
My pleasure, man. Have a good one.
Take care, man.
All right. So I don't see one in here that's like just in my face. says network troubleshooting, so I don't care for that one. Wait, well, let me see what comes up with
Yeah.
this.
I'm about to drop two guys. Yo, thanks PJ again. Um, bro, we got a link, man. I'm gonna message you. You got me on
All right.
Facebook now, but you never messaged me directly, so I'm gonna hit you up. All right? I just
All right,
realized I
sounds
sent you
good,
that.
bro. We're neighbors, so yeah, let me know.
Definitely. I took a trip down to Miami. I ain't even hit you up, bro. I'm
Look
tripping.
at you, bro.
All
So,
right, man.
all right, brother, take it easy.
Take it easy.
All right, so if we don't see anything here, what I wanted to show everyone was this website here, which I think is pretty awesome. Let me just go to the site here. Here. So it's editor.networkpolicy.io. And for those who are more visual learners, this will probably be a better way for you to at least start learning, the network policies and how they work. And just in the real world, if working on your clusters day to day and you want to create a network policy, and you're not being in a test environment, use this, and this will help you create your network policies, and you can actually visualize it and see what's going on with this. So I think this is pretty awesome, and I'll put this in the chat as well as in the description of the video when I upload it on YouTube later on. So let me just send that to you all here so you can have a copy of it. Of course, I can't find it now. Okay, here we go. All right, so you're good there. All right, cool. So network policies, they're pretty interesting to concept to learn. But essentially the most important thing is to know, okay, where the flow of the traffic is going, so is it an ingress, which essentially is traffic coming in, and the egress is traffic going out, or as far as it's leaving, going away from from your actual node. So you have to create network policies in the in the what would you call it, as far as in the perspective of your actual pod that you want to apply this to. So hey, we got a front end pod. We have a front end pod, we have a pod that's a back end pod, and then we have a database pod, right? And we only want the front end pod to be able to communicate with the back end pod, and we don't want it to be able to communicate the with the database, right? So what you could do is have you'll have a policy on the front end pod to say you're only allowing egress to the names to the to the back end pod, right? And that means that it won't be able to connect anything to anything else except for the back end pod. So we can do something like this here where we just making up some arbitrary stuff, right? So this is going to be the um the front end pod in the default namespace, right? So this pod is going to be, let me do from pod selector, right? So we're going to do app equals front end, right? And then it's only going to allow port 80. We're only allowing port 80. So from front end, we're allowing, and this is actually going to be in reference of the back end pod because this is ingress. If you were to do the front end pod, it'll be egress. So we'll just do ingress for this one here. So um, let me just see here. And I haven't used this that much, but so in the cluster and the namespace, outside cluster, okay, and namespace, all right. So let's just break this one down. And actually, they may have like some like options here. So let's specify here. Oh, this is how I use it. I was trying to figure that out earlier. Okay, cool. So namespace default, right? We're in the default namespace. Policy is we can leave it default, right? Um, and see whatever, right? Then the pod selector. So this is going to be the pod that this is going to be applied to. So we want this actually to be applied to the back end, right? So we're going to do app equals back end, and this is pretty much going to show the application. The back end pod is going to have this is going to apply to the backend pod. So this is the selector. We're selecting what pod that this policy is going to apply to. So we can save that here. So now this is going to pretty much saying, okay, so I'm currently accepting traffic from the front end, from port 80 only, right? And then you can also set this up to where I only want egress traffic to go to that pod, that backend pod. So let's do a pod selector here. And this is going to be I'll do app equals let's do DB database, and it's going to be 3306, right? So let's add that rule. Okay, cool. And then we're going to allow egress DNS. Okay, cool. So now essentially what this pod is doing, so if we look at I'm just going to scroll this up here a little bit. So if we look at it as far as in this sense, we have a network policy, which is the kind. We have it called front end policy. It's in the default namespace. The spec is, okay, what pod is this actually going to be implemented on? So if I say ingress, it's going to be ingress in reference to this pod. So ingress into the backend, right? And then there's also egress policy. I don't see where the ingress is. Okay, ingress here. So it should be both policy type. It should say ingress here too. I don't know why it doesn't. But it should say egress and then ingress. So the ingress pod, the ingress rule is saying, so any pod that matches this label, which is the app front end. So any pod that has that app equals front end label associated with it, it's going to allow port 80 access to that namespace, whatever, right? And this is just a similar scenario that I'm just making up just at the moment. It's gonna be any situation. The most important thing that you need to understand here is this right here. So when you do a from pod selector, that means that this is one rule, right? And this is a separate rule. So that means that I'm able to, no, this is actually one rule, sorry. So say we had another line here, and I can't edit it. Let me just copy this. It's probably make more sense because what I'm trying to say. Copy this, and then we can just do a on my note here. Let me just do a vi off. Okay, so let me paste that. So probably looks a little bit better for me. So say we're using this, right? I actually don't like it full screen. I like it like this. We're having sort of front end policy. So essentially what it's saying is, okay, so from this pod app front end, we're allowing port 80. And then we're also allowing Kubernetes, the pod here, the K8's app to allow us to have port 53. So that is pretty much allowing DNS, outbound. So it's able to, get discovered and all that good stuff. But say we wanted to say, I'm only going to allow this app front end as well as port 80. So say if we did something like this, say I did this, right? Say I did have this here, and then we right, port 80. So this rule is different from the rule that we just had. This rule is pretty much saying either the app front end is able to receive ingress, is able to receive inbound. So backend is able to receive inbound traffic from any label that says app front end or any request going through port 80. So that's one important thing that you want to remember because it looks very similar as far as the same. We just moved it, right? But if we just move that back, I think it's like from here or whatever. I may be wrong as far as the section, but essentially this additional thing here that is showing, hey, this is another totally separate request. But once we just have it like this, and if there's no like tab there, that means that what line, whatever, I forgot that line. I'm not even thinking right now, but essentially it's saying that both of these things have to match for that to work, if that makes sense. So I don't know why I just did that, but that's the essence of a network policy. I don't have an actual like practice question that I can find right now that I want to work on. But I'll probably have another dedicated section to that specifically. But that's kind of the gist of it. You just got to remember two things. Okay, what am I referencing? Which is going to be this part here, which is the pod selector. And that's just saying this rule is going to apply to this backend server. So anything ingress is going to be ingress to the backend pod. And anything as far as the from portion is going to say, okay, any pod that matches this label here is able to send traffic. So I'm able to ingest traffic from the front end on port 80 and nothing else. It's not going to allow anything else. It's going to be a default deny. And the same thing for the egress. You see this one here is going to show, I'm going to allow egress from, and you see there's a double two here. So I'm allowing traffic from here to a DNS, and these are the ports as well as the database, as well as showing the database as well as far as one of those pod egress selectors. So which is going to say I'm only allowing the database app to I'm only able to send traffic to that database file on this port. So these are two separate rules because you see the that line there, and that's pretty much is going to break it down. So as long as you remember that it's or, and remember this is going to be and if we just had it like one thing, you move that. These are now like that's I guess tied together if that makes sense. So now it would have to be they'll have to all these will have to match for it to go through. But that's in essence what we're gonna wrap up the call today. I know we kind of went over a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and do another dedicated section and have a list of questions for network policies because that's something that I still can get is a little shaky for me. I can actually just click this. And this will be a great way to segue into talking about ingresses, how we can save on ingresses, because I actually have something I want to talk about later on about ways to optimize having ingresses versus having multiple ingresses and being charged for each ingress that you have, which can become costly and maintenance wise just can be a little bit too much overhead as well. But all in all, that was it for this episode. And before we go, at least, did you have any questions for me, Desiree? Or Brent? I know you've been a little quiet in the back end, but it's okay.
No, I haven't. I gotta touch up on the networking stuff as well. So once I
Okay.
do, I'll have some questions. But this website is great, man. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, this is really great. I'm a visual guy, so this really helps. And you can download it and you can just go through here and it just tells you, hey, what are you looking for specifically? And yeah, it actually makes it a little bit convenient for you. And this is going to be more of a real world thing that you can implement in as far as in your day-to-day stuff. So nice little tool to have on your back pocket. Oh wow, this was a good option to I guess create a some pause, a simple tool. You must display your entirety of your terminal. Troubleshoot, fix the issue. Oh, this is just something else. It's like networking stuff, but a different type of troubleshooting. But all in all, man, that's it. And yeah, I hope you have a good night. I'm gonna stop the recording again, guys. Check us out on the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, and definitely stay tuned. We always have some really good content. And yeah, definitely look out for the next video. See you next week.